It was a quiet night aboard the space station Orion, drifting in the vast emptiness of space. The hum of the station's engines and the distant glow of far-off stars were the only sounds breaking the stillness. Dr. Evan Holden sat alone in his small quarters, staring out the window at the swirling nebulae. He had spent years aboard this station, far from Earth, conducting research and working on projects meant to preserve humanity's legacy. The idea of saving mankind from its own mistakes had kept him busy. But tonight, there was a sense of unease in the air. He couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. Evan wasn't used to being afraid. After all, he had been a part of the most advanced scientific endeavors the human race had ever known. But as he sat there, staring into the endless blackness outside, a strange heaviness seemed to press against his chest. He sighed, leaned back in his chair, and closed his eyes, deciding to rest for a while. Maybe a few hours of sleep would help. Clear his mind, he had no idea that this would be the night his life would change forever. As Evan drifted into a deep sleep, his dreams were filled with strange images, flashes of alien landscapes, voices he couldn't understand, and faces of people he didn't recognize. It was a whirlwind of images, but one thing stood out: the feeling of being watched. A strange, familiar presence lingered just beyond his reach. But as quickly as the dream had come, it faded away, leaving him restless. Suddenly he awoke with a start. His heart was racing, his breath shallow, as if he had been jolted out of a deep sleep. The room was dark, save for the soft glow of the console on his desk. At first, he thought it was just a nightmare, but something didn't feel right. He sat up, rubbing his eyes, trying to shake off the lingering sensation of unease. His mind raced, trying to make sense of the dream. Then he saw her, standing at the foot of his bed. Bathed in the dim light of his room was a woman. Her silhouette was almost ghostly, outlined against the soft glow coming from the hallway outside. For a moment, Evan froze. He didn't know who she was, how she had gotten in, or how long she had been standing there. His first instinct was to call out, to demand answers. But his voice seemed stuck in his throat. The woman stood still, her eyes locked on his. They were unlike any eyes Evan had ever seen before, a shimmering, almost ethereal light, as if they contained the knowledge of countless stars. Her skin was pale, almost translucent, and her long, dark hair cascaded around her shoulders in soft waves. She wore a simple white robe that glowed faintly in the low light. For a long moment, they just stared at each other. Evan's heart pounded in his chest, his mind struggling to comprehend what was happening. He reached for his console on the bedside table, his fingers trembling. But when he tried to activate the station's security system, nothing happened. The room was quiet, save for the sound of his own breathing. "Who are you?" Evan managed to whisper, his voice thick with confusion. The woman didn't respond at first. She simply watched him, her gaze steady and intense. Then, slowly, she spoke, her voice soft and melodic, like a song drifting on the wind. "I am Lyra," she said, her words calm yet filled with a strange power. "I've been waiting for you, Dr. Holden." Evan blinked, his mind racing. "Waiting for me? How did you get on this station?" "The security systems." "I bypassed your station's security," she interrupted gently, her tone unthreatening, almost reassuring. "But I did not come to harm you. I came to warn you." Evan's confusion deepened. He had never seen her before, yet her presence felt familiar, as though she had always been there, lurking just beyond his consciousness. "Warn me? About what?" Lyra took a step forward, her feet making no sound on the floor. "You have a great task ahead of you, Dr. Holden, something that will change the fate of humanity." Evan's mind raced. He was a scientist, a rational thinker. He wasn't someone who believed in mystical encounters or mysterious strangers appearing in the night. But something about Lyra's presence felt real, undeniable. Her words carried weight as if they were not just a warning, but a truth he was meant to hear. "I don't understand," he said slowly, his voice hoarse. "Who are you really? What do you want from me?" Lyra's eyes softened, though there was still a glint of something powerful in them. "I am from a distant place, Dr. Holden, a place beyond the stars. I am not like you, and yet I am connected to you, to your people, to your world." Evan felt a strange chill run down his spine. What do you mean connected? Lyra hesitated for a moment, as though choosing her words carefully. I am part of a group that has been watching your species for a very long time. We've seen the rise of humanity, and we've seen the destruction you've caused. But I believe that you are capable of something greater, something that could change the course of not just your world, but of all worlds. Evan's mind was spinning. He had spent years studying the stars, the mysteries of space. But this was unlike anything he had ever encountered. You've been watching us? For how long? Longer than you can imagine, she replied softly. We have watched as your civilization rose from the ashes of war and greed. We've seen your potential. But we have also seen the dangers that lie ahead. Evan tried to process her words. His thoughts were a whirlwind of confusion. But there was something about her calm presence that made him feel as though she was telling the truth. Dangers? What kind of dangers? The kind that threaten your very existence, Lyra said, her gaze growing more intense. You've only begun to realize the true nature of the universe. There are forces out there, far beyond your understanding, that would see your world fall. And if you do not act soon, humanity may never reach its full potential. Evan swallowed, his heart pounding. This woman, this Lyra, was not just a stranger. She was something more, something beyond the realm of what he had ever believed possible. And yet her words rang true, echoing in his mind. Before he could say anything more, Lyra spoke again. I will help you understand. But first, you must trust me. The journey ahead will not be easy. But it is one you must take. For the sake of your species, for the sake of all that could be. Evan's mind swirled with questions. But as he looked into her eyes, he felt a strange sense of calm. Somehow deep down, he knew that his life, humanity's future, was about to change in ways he could not yet imagine. And with that, the first step of his journey began. Evan couldn't shake the strange feeling that had washed over him. The woman, Lyra, had appeared out of nowhere, standing over him in the dark of his quarters like something out of a dream. Yet, as he stared into her shimmering eyes, there was no doubt in his mind that she was real. Everything about her felt otherworldly. Her calm demeanor, the way she spoke with such certainty, and the depth in her eyes that seemed to hold countless secrets. He sat at the edge of his bed, still trying to make sense of what had just happened. Lyra had told him that she was here to warn him that something was coming, something that could change the fate of humanity forever. But Evan wasn't sure what to think. He had spent his life studying the stars and searching for answers. But this was something beyond anything he had ever expected. Why me? He asked, his voice shaky, though he didn't quite understand why he felt so uncertain. Why are you here now? Lyra moved silently across the room, her steps graceful and unhurried, as if the weight of the universe didn't bear down on her as it did on him. She took a seat across from Evan, folding her legs beneath her with ease. Her presence was calming, almost hypnotic. Despite the confusion swirling in Evan's mind, there was a strange comfort in the way she spoke, in the way she seemed to understand everything without needing to explain. You are more important than you know. Dr. Holden, Lyra said softly, I came to you because you are one of the few who can see beyond the veil. You are someone who has the potential to help humanity evolve. Evan frowned, trying to grasp the meaning behind her words. Evolve? I'm just a scientist. What could I possibly do to help humanity evolve? You underestimate yourself, Lyra replied, her voice gentle, yet firm. Humanity is on the brink of something great, Dr. Holden, something that will change the course of its future. But it is up to you, and to a few others like you, to unlock that potential. Evan leaned back in his chair, still processing. I don't understand. What do you mean by unlocking potential? And what's this about something coming? What is it? Lyra hesitated for a moment, her eyes looking past him as though she were searching for the right words. Then, finally, she spoke again. There are forces in the universe that are older than your species. Forces that have seen civilizations rise and fall. And among them are those who fear the rise of humanity. Evan's heart skipped a beat. You mean there are other beings out there? His voice was barely above a whisper. Lyra nodded slowly. Yes, Not all of them are hostile, but there are those who would see humanity's growth stunted. They are aware of the potential that lies within your kind, but they believe that humanity is too dangerous, too unpredictable, to be allowed to flourish. Your species is on the verge of something great, but there are others who want to stop it before it happens. Evan felt a chill run through him, a deep sense of foreboding. He had always known there were more stars out there, more planets, more possibilities, but the idea that there were other beings, powerful beings, who were watching humanity and might be trying to stop them was something he had never considered. "Why are you telling me this?" he asked. "Why me? I'm just a scientist. I study alien life. I research data. I analyze samples. I'm not a hero. I don't even know what I'm supposed to do with this information." Lyra's eyes softened. "Because you are different. You have the ability to understand what is happening, to see the larger picture. Many people are blind to what lies beyond their own world, but you have been seeking the truth your entire life, and now you will be shown the truth, whether you are ready for it or not." Evan swallowed hard. He had spent years studying, learning, and seeking knowledge, but nothing, not a single thing, had prepared him for this moment. Nothing had prepared him for the idea that there were beings out there, watching and possibly even controlling the destiny of his world. "You said something is coming," Evan pressed, his voice low. "What is it? What should we be afraid of?" Lyra leaned forward slightly, her expression growing serious. "There is a celestial event that is about to occur. A cosmic alignment that happens once every 1,000 years. This event will either uplift your species or tear it apart. It will decide whether humanity will rise to greatness or fall back into the chaos that has defined your past." Evan felt a sense of awe mixed with anxiety. "And you want me to be a part of this? You want me to help humanity make it through?" "Yes," Lyra said firmly. "I need your help, Dr. Holden. The knowledge you have, the research you've been conducting, it will be key in understanding how humanity can survive this event. But there are those who do not want you to succeed, and that is why I am here." Evan's mind spun with questions, but he couldn't keep up. The idea that humanity's future depended on an event he had never even heard of, an event that could either make or break them, felt overwhelming. He had spent years working on human preservation projects, but this was something entirely different, something much bigger. He sat in silence for a long time, thinking. His thoughts were a jumble of fear, wonder, and confusion. Everything he had worked for, everything he thought he knew about the universe, seemed small and insignificant in the face of what Lyra was telling him. He had always believed humanity had the potential to overcome its flaws, but now it seemed that the fate of the entire human race was on the line, and he was somehow at the center of it. So Evan finally said, his voice still shaky, "What exactly do you need me to do?" Lyra smiled, though there was a sadness in her expression. "First, you must understand the true nature of humanity. You must realize that your people are capable of more than just survival. They can be the catalyst for change in the galaxy. But this requires unlocking something that lies dormant within you, within me." Evan asked, feeling a strange twinge of fear. "Yes, you possess the knowledge? The ability to help humanity unlock their potential? You must help them tap into the strength that lies within their very DNA." "DNA? What are you talking about?" Lyra's gaze intensified. "There is a genetic trait in your people, Dr. Holden, a dormant ability that can be awakened. And when it is, humanity will have the power to shape the future of not just your planet, but of the entire galaxy." Evan stared at her, his mind racing. This was beyond anything he had ever studied. The idea that human DNA could hold the key to such power to shaping the future of the galaxy was almost too much to comprehend. "Where do I start?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper. Lyra stood up, her movements graceful and deliberate. "I will show you. But you must be prepared, Dr. Holden. The path ahead will not be easy. There will be forces who will try to stop you. But you must stay focused. Humanity's future depends on it." Evan nodded slowly, the weight of her words settling in. He didn't fully understand everything she was saying, but he knew one thing for certain. His life and the future of humanity would never be the same. And with that, his journey into the unknown began. Evan sat in his small quarters, his mind racing. The weight of everything Lyra had told him was almost too much to handle. He'd always thought of himself as a rational man, a scientist who dealt with facts and data, not stories of cosmic alignments and ancient powers. Yet here he was, sitting across from a mysterious woman who claimed to know the fate of humanity, someone who spoke of dormant powers hidden deep within human DNA. Nothing about this made sense. But something about Lyra's presence felt real, undeniable, and for the first time in years, Evan felt as though his work had taken on a purpose far beyond what he could have ever imagined. Lyra had given him a task to understand and unlock the latent abilities within humanity, to prepare them for the celestial event that was rapidly approaching. But Evan had no idea where to begin. His years of study had been focused on preserving humanity's genetic legacy, but this was something entirely different, something deeper, more mysterious, and far more dangerous. "What do you need me to do?" he asked again, though this time his voice was steadier, filled with the resolve of someone willing to face the unknown. Lyra's expression softened as she looked at him. "You must first understand that humanity is not just a collection of individuals. Your species is connected in ways you cannot yet comprehend. The key to unlocking your potential lies in uniting your people, in helping them see that they are part of something much larger than themselves." Evan frowned. "But people are selfish. Look at how humanity has treated each other throughout history. Wars, greed, hatred. How can we be part of something larger when we can't even get along with each other?" Lyra nodded, her eyes filled with a mixture of sadness and understanding. "I know, but that is the very challenge your species faces. There are forces out there that have tried to crush that potential. They've seen the darkness in humanity and believe it is all you are capable of. But I do not believe that. I believe that there is light within you. And if humanity can find a way to awaken that light, you will rise to greatness." Evan couldn't help but be moved by her words. It was the first time he had ever considered the idea that humanity might have a destiny beyond the struggles of daily life. Perhaps he had been too focused on the failures of mankind, blinded by history's mistakes. Maybe there was something to this idea of awakening hidden potential, something that could transcend the flaws that had defined humanity for so long. But he still had so many questions. "Why now?" he asked. "Why are you telling me this now, after all these years? Why not earlier?" Lyra sighed deeply. "Because humanity needed to reach a tipping point. Your species had to evolve, to grow, before this power could be unlocked. The time for action is now. If you do not act soon, the cosmic event will come and go, and humanity will miss its chance." Evan leaned forward, his curiosity piqued. "And how do I help humanity unlock this potential? How do I awaken something that's been dormant for so long?" Lyra looked at him, her gaze intense. "It is not just about science, Dr. Holden. It is about belief. Your people need to understand that they are not just individuals. They are part of something greater. You must help them see that unity, compassion, and creativity are the keys to their survival. These are the traits that will awaken the power within." Evan was silent for a long moment, contemplating her words. It seemed almost impossible to believe that something as abstract as unity could hold the key to humanity's future. But Lyra's confidence was compelling. He couldn't deny that her presence felt significant, that everything she said resonated with a truth that was hard to ignore. "So, what do I do?" he asked again, this time with a sense of urgency. "Where do we begin?" Lyra smiled, but there was a hint of sadness in her expression. "You have already begun. Your work, your research, it has all been leading up to this moment. You are on the right path, Dr. Holden, but now you must turn your focus inward. The human heart is the most powerful force in the universe. When you help others understand that, they will begin to awaken." Evan felt a deep sense of uncertainty. It was hard to believe that something as simple as compassion and unity could hold the key to unlocking the greatness Lyra spoke of. And yet, he couldn't help but wonder if there was more to the story than he had yet realized. "I don't know if I can do this alone," he admitted. I don't even know if people will listen to me." Lyra's eyes softened, and she placed a hand on his shoulder. "You will not be alone. You have allies. There are others who believe, who have already begun to awaken. You simply need to find them." Evan felt a flicker of hope, but it was quickly overshadowed by doubt. How will I find them? How do I even begin to look for people who are ready to believe in something so abstract? Lyra leaned back slightly, her eyes distant, as if remembering something far away. The first step is to believe in yourself, Dr. Holden. The rest will follow. Evan wasn't sure what to make of her cryptic words, but he nodded slowly. There was a part of him that knew Lyra was right. He had spent so much of his life working, in isolation, focusing on his research, on the small details of science, but now he was being asked to see the bigger picture, to look beyond the facts and figures, to understand the deeper connection that tied all humans together. He glanced down at his desk, where piles of research papers and data reports were scattered. It seemed so small now, compared to the weight of the task ahead. He had spent so many years studying the mechanics of life, the science of survival, but now it was time for something different, something that could change the course of history. As he stood up, a sudden thought struck him. What about the cosmic event? How do we prepare for it? What exactly is it? Lyra stood as well, moving gracefully across the room. The event is a convergence of energies, Dr. Holden. It is the alignment of your star system with a powerful force that has been waiting for this moment. When it occurs, it will either elevate humanity to a new level of existence or cast you back into darkness. It is not just an event of nature, it is an event of transformation. Your species will either rise or fall. Evan felt a deep sense of urgency wash over him. He knew that time was running out, and that the fate of humanity was in his hands. He had always believed in the power of science to change the world. But now he understood that there were forces at play far beyond the realm of pure logic and data. I'll do it, he said finally, his voice steady with resolve. I'll help humanity unlock this potential. I'll help them see what they're capable of. Lyra smiled, her eyes glowing with a mixture of pride and hope. I knew you would. And remember, Dr. Holden, the key to unlocking the future lies not in science, but in the human heart. Evan nodded, feeling the weight of her words settle in. He didn't fully understand everything yet, but he knew that his life, humanity's future, was about to change forever. The path ahead would not be easy. There would be challenges, and there would be forces working against them. But Evan was ready to face whatever came. The time had come to awaken humanity's true potential. The days following his conversation with Lyra were a blur. Evan barely slept, spending hours upon hours poring over old research notes, analyzing data and thinking about everything Lyra had revealed to him. The truth she had shared was vast, too vast to fully comprehend in such a short time. Humanity was standing on the brink of something monumental, something that could change everything. But the more Evan learned, the more questions he had. There was so much he didn't understand. Lyra had given him no easy answers. Instead, she had opened a door to a world he hadn't even known existed. Now it was up to him to find the key to unlocking humanity's hidden potential. But where would he even start? He often found himself staring out of the observation window of his quarters, lost in thought. The station Orion floated silently in the dark expanse of space, a tiny speck in the vastness of the universe. But as he looked out at the stars, he couldn't help but feel a sense of connection to something far larger than himself. There was a power out there, one that Lyra had told him about, and he was beginning to realize just how small humanity was in the grand scheme of things. Yet at the same time, Lyra had also told him something else, that humanity had the potential to become something greater, something that could change the entire galaxy. Evan felt both awe and fear at that thought. How could his species, a species still struggling with its own flaws, possibly be ready for such a responsibility? Evan's thoughts were interrupted by the soft chime of his communication console. He sat up, surprised. It was too late for any regular communication. He glanced at the screen and saw Lyra's face appear, her calm expression as unreadable as ever. "Dr. Holden," she said, her voice steady. "We need to talk." Evan stood, moving quickly to the console. "What's happened? Is something wrong?" Lyra's eyes, though still calm, seemed to carry an unspoken urgency. "No, but the time for hesitation is over. We need to move forward, and we need to do it now." Evan felt a knot form in his stomach. Move forward? With what? What are we supposed to do? Lyra's expression grew more serious. We need to understand the hidden legacy of humanity. There are records, ancient archives scattered across the galaxy that hold the key to your people's potential. They were left behind by a civilization that once watched over Earth and your ancestors. The knowledge contained within these archives could unlock the abilities that are dormant within your species. But the archives are not easy to find. They are hidden, protected by forces beyond your understanding. Evan's heart skipped a beat. Hidden archives. A civilization that watched over Earth? Yes, Lyra replied. Long before humanity's recorded history, there were others who came to your planet. They were not human, but they saw something in your species that no one else had. They believed in humanity's potential to rise above the chaos, to become something greater. And they left behind a legacy that could change everything for your species. Evan's mind raced. How do you know about this? And why haven't you told me sooner? Lyra paused before answering, her eyes reflecting a mixture of regret and understanding. I have been waiting for the right moment to reveal this to you, Dr. Holden. The truth is, I have not told you everything. There is much more at play here than you realize. I was sent to guide you, but I was not sent to give you all the answers. You must find them for yourself. Evan took a deep breath, trying to calm his racing thoughts. The weight of Lyra's words was starting to sink in. So, what do we do now? There are clues, Lyra said. Clues hidden in your planet's history in ancient texts. In artifacts scattered across Earth, these clues will lead you to the archives. But you must act quickly. The forces that seek to stop you are already aware of your search. They will try to prevent you from finding the truth. Evan nodded, determination slowly building inside him. I understand. I'll start searching for these clues. But where do I begin? Lyra's expression softened. Start with the ancient sites of Earth. The places where your ancestors first began to build civilizations. There are ruins deep beneath the Earth where the first humans were guided by those who came before. Evan felt a sense of purpose awaken within him. For years he had studied the past, the rise and fall of civilizations, the ancient myths and legends, but now he realized that these stories weren't just myths. They were pieces of a larger puzzle. A puzzle that he was now determined to solve. I'll start there, he said, his voice firm. I'll find these ruins, and I'll uncover the truth about humanity's legacy. Lyra's eyes glowed with a faint light, a look of approval in her expression. Good, but remember, you are not the only one searching for these answers. There are others out there, powerful beings, who would do anything to keep this knowledge hidden. You must be careful, Evan nodded. I'll be careful. As the conversation ended, Evan felt a sense of clarity that he hadn't felt before. He had a purpose now. He knew what he had to do. The future of humanity rested on finding these hidden archives, unlocking the dormant power within the human race, making sure it was used for the good of all. He spent the next few days preparing. Lyra had given him a list of ancient locations to visit, but she had also warned him that the journey would not be easy. The first location was an ancient temple deep in the jungles of South America, a place that had long been considered a mystery to archaeologists. It was said to hold secrets of the past, but no one had been able to decipher its meaning. Evan had been to many archaeological sites in his career, but nothing like this. The stakes were higher now, and the path ahead was shrouded in mystery. He wasn't sure what he would find, but he knew one thing for certain. The answers he sought were out there, hidden in the ruins of the past, and he was determined to find them. The journey would be dangerous. There were those who did not want these secrets to be uncovered, but Evan was no stranger to danger. As a scientist, he had spent years working on the edge of what was known, exploring the unknown. Now, he was about to dive deeper into the unknown than he ever had before. He packed his bags and prepared for the journey. It would take time, and he knew there would be obstacles. But for the first time, he felt truly alive. This wasn't just about saving humanity anymore. It was about uncovering the truth, finding the answers that had been buried for centuries, and awakening the potential within his own species. As Evan boarded the transport ship that would take him to South America, he couldn't help but feel a strange sense of anticipation. The journey ahead was uncertain, filled with unknown dangers and mysteries. But there was one thing he knew for sure. He was no longer alone in this search. He had allies, and together they would uncover the hidden legacy of humanity. Evan's journey to South America had been long, tiring, and filled with unexpected challenges. He had traveled across the globe, visiting ancient sites that held the secrets of humanity's past. Each step he took, each new discovery he made, only brought him closer to understanding the truth of Lyra's words. But as the days passed, he began to feel the weight of his mission bearing down on him more and more. He wasn't just uncovering ancient artifacts anymore. He was uncovering the very foundation of humanity's future, the temple in the heart of the Amazon. Jungle had been the key to it all. Hidden deep beneath the earth, it had been forgotten by time, its purpose buried under centuries of overgrowth and decay. But when Evan had finally made his way inside, he had found something far more than just ruins. He had found a message, a blueprint for what humanity could become if they were ready to accept it. The message had been carved into the stone walls. In a language older than any known to humankind, it took Evan weeks to decode, using the knowledge he had gained from his studies and Lyra's guidance. The words were simple, yet their meaning was profound. Humanity's potential lies in unity, compassion, and creativity. Only by awakening these traits can you fulfill your purpose in the cosmos. Evan had spent years researching the stars, studying the great mysteries of the universe. But this was something entirely different. The message in the temple spoke of a cosmic alignment, an event that would soon unfold, one that could either elevate humanity to a new level of existence or cast them back into the darkness they had struggled to overcome for so long now. Standing in the ruins of the temple, Evan felt the full weight of the decision before him. The stars were aligning, the event was coming, and the future of humanity rested on the choice he was about to make. Lyra had told him that there were forces in the universe that would do anything to stop humanity from awakening. She had warned him that there would be obstacles, dangers, enemies who would try to prevent him from uncovering the truth. And now, Evan could feel those forces closing in. He had uncovered enough. The knowledge was in his hands, but the question remained. What would he do with it? Should he share it with the world? Could humanity handle the power it would unlock? Or would revealing the truth only lead to chaos? For the first time, Evan felt a deep sense of doubt. He had believed in humanity's potential, but the weight of responsibility now seemed almost too much to bear. What if he was wrong? What if humanity wasn't ready for the power they would unlock? What if, in trying to guide them, he only pushed them further into destruction? He sat down on a stone bench inside the temple, his mind racing. There was so much at stake. He had seen the darkness in human history, the wars, the greed, the suffering, but he had also seen the moments of light, the moments when people had come together to overcome adversity, to create something beautiful. He had seen that humanity was capable of greatness, but was that enough to trust them with the truth? As Evan sat in the temple, deep in thought, he heard a faint sound, the soft rustling of footsteps. He looked up to see Lyra standing before him, her expression unreadable, as always. "It's time," she said, her voice soft but filled with urgency. "The event is drawing near. The choice is yours, Dr. Holden. Humanity's future is in your hands." Evan stood up, facing her. "I know, but how can I be sure? How can I be sure that humanity is ready for this?" Lyra's eyes softened with understanding. "That is the very question you must answer. You've already seen the potential within your species, haven't you? The kindness, the creativity, the moments of unity. Humanity is capable of more than you realize. But they need a guide. They need someone to show them the way. That is your role." Evan looked down, his hands trembling slightly. "But what if I'm wrong? What if I lead them down the wrong path?" Lyra stepped forward, placing a hand on his shoulder. "You cannot fear the future, Dr. Holden. The universe is vast, and its possibilities are endless. Yes, there will be mistakes along the way, but that is how growth happens. Humanity will not be perfect, but it can be something extraordinary. The only way to unlock that potential is to give them the chance." Evan closed his eyes, feeling the weight of her words sink in. For so long, he had believed that humanity needed to be saved from itself. But now, he saw that it wasn't about saving them. It was about helping them find their own way. It was about giving them the tools they needed to unlock their potential, to see beyond their flaws, to realize the power that lay within them. He opened his eyes and looked at Lyra. I can't do this alone. I can't make this decision for all of humanity, but I can help them find their way. I can help them understand what they are capable of. Lyra smiled, a soft, knowing smile. You're not alone, Dr. Holden. There are others who share your vision, others who have already begun to awaken. Together, you can lead humanity into a new era. Evan took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the decision lifting slightly. He wasn't alone. There were others out there, waiting for the same thing, waiting for the truth to be revealed. He didn't have to carry this burden alone. He turned to face the altar at the center of the temple, the place where the message had been carved into the stone. He had found the truth, and now it was time to share it with the world. The event is coming, Evan said, his voice steady. And humanity must be ready. Ada nodded. Yes, it is time. The cosmic alignment will come, whether you are ready or not. The question is, will humanity be ready to embrace it? Evan stood there for a long time, contemplating the future. He thought about the journey he had taken, the discoveries he had made, and the people who would be affected by his choices. He thought about Earth, its people, and the potential that lay within them. He knew that the road ahead would not be easy. There would be resistance, there would be challenges, and there would be moments of doubt. But there was also hope. And in the end, it wasn't about being perfect or having all the answers. It was about believing in the potential of humanity, about giving them the chance to rise above their flaws and create something greater. Evan took one last look at the ancient temple before turning away, feeling the weight of his decision settle within him. He had made his choice. He would share the truth. He would help humanity awaken as he walked toward the exit of the temple. The first light of dawn broke through the trees, casting a warm glow over the jungle. The stars had aligned, and with them, so had humanity's future.